Welcome. I have to talk to you about MySQL, and I have to talk about something cool for developers, right? Because I think who's DBA here? This is what I was expecting, right? So usually I like to also talk to DBAs, but this session is for you developers, so that's the good news. So let's start with some presentation. So my name is Frédéric Descamps. As you can hear, I am speaking the most spread language in the world, which is bad English. So if you don't understand something, just let me know. I will repeat. And I'm going to start with what we know this morning. So I am a MySQL evangelist, so I work in Oracle since 2016 in the community, but I am using MySQL for much longer than that. I think some of you are not even born yet. So I was using it since version 2020. I'm a zealous believer. I like basketball. I am the real definition of cloud native, meaning I am born and raised in Belgium. So this weather is splendid for me today because in Belgium we have rain and clouds all the time. I'm also contributor of the blogs oracle.com/MySQL. You can find a lot of blogs from me there, but I also have my own blog where I duplicate the same articles and extra articles, videos, links, everything you need from MySQL. If you have any question, you can find everything on my blog to find me out. If you have any MySQL question, you can ask me, and I'm very happy to reply to that. So, for the one or two guys knowing MySQL or using MySQL, I want to make you discover something new with MySQL tonight. And we will see the MySQL Document Store. So, who knows what is NoSQL? Which NoSQL database are you using usually? Mongo? Which is the main answer, right? Usually. So no worries. I will show you something better. Oh, I hope. So why developer likes Document Store? Because schemaless. If you are a DBA, usually developers don't care about that. They say, this is my new product, this operation, make it evolve now to a database, and we need to add this index, this column, there, and this and that. And this is very painful. Less known MySQL because with instant DBL, but usually the process of changing the database is very complicated. And with NoSQL, we don't have a schema definition. So you want to add a new attribute, you just add it, and that's it, right? So NoSQL design, no normalization, no foreign keys, no data type, so easy, no constraining for the developer. So it's a very quick initial development. So you don't have to think about what are the relations you might be able. You just put everything in a big document. The data structure is flexible. You can embed arrays. You can embed even objects into it, so it's easy. And sometimes it's very complicated to have a normalization of data. So here you should not think about that. And this is why people like that. And also, you can persist object when a document store without even having to use any ORM. ORM, it's a very good word for a DBA. A DBA doesn't like to hear ORM. So if you want to talk to me about that, we can talk later on that. And JSON. Document store, usually they use JSON. JSON is a format very close to the front end, even for people using JavaScript. I cannot say that to Java User Group. And it's very easy to learn. So this is how me, as a DBA, I see the data, but this is how you, sorry, you don't even see it because of the light, but here there are some attributes and stuff, but this is how developers see data usually. And so this is a big difference, and this is where it's hard to when we talk about DevOps, usually there is a developer, the operator, and the DBA is just there in the middle of both and not being part of it. Because this is how we see the data, and we are maybe the only ones seeing data like that. So when we need to do, thank you for the light. So the thing is that, of course, we agreed that developers will start adding data in JSON in document store. It's nice. But at the end, what people want for the business, it says, oh, we want analytics. We store plenty of data coming from IoT or whatever, but we need to make analytics of that. How can we do that? Because this is a bunch of documents, right? So what people does usually, that their document store here, and then they will need to do something to make this analytics on a relational database, like MySQL, right? So we need a process to do that. And this is because here analytics on a relational database it's easy, on a document store it's not that easy. So what people does, they use ETL. So every night they will extract data, or every week or whenever they want, they will extract the data to put in relational database. Here it's MySQL, there can be any other relational database to do this analytics, right? And this has a cost because you need to maintain twice the data. This has a cost because it is a process, and you also don't have real-time analytics because you have to do it after the ETL, right? So, what if there was a process or a solution that would provide you SQL for your analytics and NoSQL in a very stable platform that is there for many years, that has proved its stability, and that is a very large community and very well known? So, what if we could provide you that? And this is what we did in MySQL. So if you have to choose between the relational database and NoSQL, why not both in one single product, right? And this is what we did. We did the MySQL Document Store, where the SQL is completely optional. SQL completely optional. So you don't, usually when I go to Heather was speaking about the students and stuff, SQL it's not a language that prefer, right? Most of the time, it's complicated. Select star is okay, select count, but more than that, it's very complicated, right? So here we can provide, developers can use MySQL without one single line of SQL. So this is the MySQL Document Store, so you can store your data, your application, JavaScript, Python, Java, whatever you want. Just store data, JSON data, and you can still have your analytics process exactly running on the JSON data. And this is what we're going to see. So the solution is MySQL, of course. You have nothing to do. It's just MySQL server, you install it, and you have it. So you can store JSON document, you can use MySQL with CRUD operation, and we use the XDev API for that. So if you have already used MySQL, you know that the normal, the classic protocol port for MySQL is 3306. Usually people know that, it's very known, right? And we have another port which is 33060 for the XDev API. So it's another port because it's another protocol that allows you to do CRUD operation, that allows you to do asynchronous call and stuff like that. Because you are using MongoDB, right? Let's make a question. What's the maximum size of a document in MongoDB? Maybe 16 megabytes. A document of 16 megabytes is big, right? But a lot of people, it's not big enough. So with MySQL, we have 1 gigabyte. Because this is the limitation of max allowed packet, the maximum you can have for a packet to send it to the server. If you don't have to send it to the server, you could have even created a bigger one. But because you have to send it, then the limitation is 1 gigabyte. So this is what we're going to see together today. Today is how to use it. So we don't talk about databases, we talk about schemas, right? We will not talk about tables, but we will talk about collections. The reports will be documents, right? And a document will have an ID, will have a doc, which is the JSON, and some JSON schema field. So, and maybe you could have other stuff there, depending if you are creating indexes. But by default, this is what we have in the document, and we're going to play with that. X protocol. It's also supported in all the connectors that we provide as worker, but also like the community. For example, I think there is implementation for the Blue language, right? So depending on what language, check it. But all the connectors that we provide, they are supporting the X protocol. So how to install and set up the MySQL Document Store? Just install MySQL 8. So you install it, you have it. Then install MySQL Shell. MySQL Shell is just there if you want to do operations, not from your programming language, but as a DBA or as a developer to test, you use the shell. And if you use an application, then you just need to have a connector that is compatible with the X protocol, which all the new connectors are, and that's it. You just have to do that, and you have already the MySQL document. Simple to that. The thing is that if you have a firewall, but usually as a developer, you like to adapt to the operators or to the sysadmins, the port 3306 needs to be open. Not only 3306, but the X protocol port. Nothing extra needs to be added, installed, or plugins, whatever. You have everything. Also, if you are using OCI, who is using OCI? So in the cloud, there is also MySQL, of course, and it's called MySQL eTrade. This is the MySQL service in OCI, and it has also the X protocol open, and you can use it in OCI if you want. This is the only cloud provider providing you with the So I already knew that people would say, "Oh, I'm using Mongo, right?" So I didn't go very fast on my laptop to change my slides. So let's use Mongo as a reference. And if you have done the tutorial on Mongo, there is one collection called restaurants. This is the one you have when you add a small green book from Mongo and you test the examples. So let's add and import the full restaurant collection to MySQL from Mongo. So what we do Mongo export, which collection and file. And you can see we are exporting more than 25,000 restaurants reports, documents. And then we open MySQL Shell and we just do import the restaurants and we convert this away because this is what Mongo is using, and that's it. We just have imported 25,000 documents from Mongo to MySQL. One single line. Most people say, "Oh, this is too easy," but it's true, it's for me. So let's have a look now. This is just a screenshot to show you that this was not only typed on my slide, but it's a real screenshot doing this. As you can see, I import them very quickly, and this is imported in documents. This is on my machine. You can do that. I don't know if you are using Visual Studio Code. MySQL Shell is also available in Visual Studio Code, so it's exactly the same using Visual Studio. So now let's make a query. So when we do, I promised that I was not using SQL for the moment, right? So this is what developers do without SQL. I want to list all the restaurants. Mongo has a limitation, it limits. You cannot show them all. By default, it will limit it. MySQL doesn't give you any limit. So if you do that, fine, it will show you the 25,000 records. Right? So you need to add the limiters. So I am now connected to MySQL in the MySQL Shell client. What do you notice? Do you notice something special here? Sorry? Yeah, it's a limited, but it's not the special thing. I'm talking to MySQL, to a relational database server, and I'm speaking or talking in JavaScript. This is JavaScript. So no SQL JavaScript. So with the shell, for the command line client, I can use the SQL framework, of course, but I can use JavaScript or Python to just query the database or to do plenty of other stuff. if you want to know more about what are the plenty other stuff, we can do during the break or after. But currently, we will just use it to check and to play with the documents we have here in MySQL. So I added a limit 1. This is the first document. So this is a document that is stored in MySQL. As you can see, this is just simple JSON, right? In MySQL. So in the relational database that everybody knows for almost 30 years. But now we have this document. Another example, I want to say, okay, I want to find the restaurant collection, 2 reports, so 2 documents, and I want to just extract 2 attributes, which are the name and the cuisine. And this is what we have. Right? So it's very simple to use. We can also add some filters, so I want to find, but this time I will say, oh, the cuisine should be Italian. Always limit 2, always show 2 attributes, and these are the 2 reports, 2 documents I will extract from MySQL. So I am doing all that without one single line of SQL. So I can also use, I was using equal, I can use a, and this is exactly the same output. For example, the syntax here, for the Mongo expert, you said Mongo, so you are now my Mongo expert for the full session, right? Both of you. So, who never used Mongo? You never used Mongo, so you are my other candidate. What am I? Could you translate this thing? What I'm trying to do here? So fetching restaurants, from French cuisine, right? And even or not in Latin, yes. And I want to display what we want to display. Yes. So never use Mongo, and he is able to translate this to what we really want to do. Right? It's a new CZJUG almost. And if you are MongoDB users, this is what you have to do. In fact, you exactly have the same output. So this is why it's not the same syntax. And yeah, I cannot judge myself, but maybe you can judge. Really, this is more easy to understand because here you need to use regular expressions. If people doesn't like SQL, I'm not sure they like regular expression. This is just my day on that. And if you don't want to show every attribute, you need to say which one you want to show. Right? So this is the difference in Mongo compared to MySQL. So for developers, what does that mean? So here is just a small, PHP example. But what you can see here is that I create my session, I get my schema, I get my collection, and I do a find, the search string I created, and that's it. And I display it. This is very simple output, but I did that without one single line of SQL, right? Just using CRUD operations. CRUD operations, so to create, read, read. Java. So I promised to do some Java, so I did some Java for you. So exactly the same now to get the data, right, out of the collection in Java. Again, here, not a single line of script. So this is it. This is a little demo. I'm just created some Java code. I tried to get some search for one string and similar. This code is good, the output is beautiful. If you want the code, it's on my GitHub, or I can show you if you have time later. But it's exactly what you saw before, just CRUD operation. So CRUD operation, I don't want to leave them all, but we can remove, find data, so remove is very easy, just remove. So I delete the records. You can add records, you can add multiple records at the same time. So all that it's possible with the MySQL Document Store. You can modify, for example, here I'm binding data, or I can create a patch. So you can create a JSON document and patch the document, and it will update it the document for you. So, and this is the remove I was explaining earlier. So this is the summary of everything. So, and you can use the CRUD operation also on tables. I'm not showing that right now because we are talking about JSON documents, but you could use it also for insert, select, update, delete in a relational table within CRUD. All you need to know is in XDev API. So this is the link where you can find it. So something different compared to Mongo is that we have 30 years of history of maintaining your data as DBAs, right? And you won't change online intelligently. So for us, the data is important, right? NoSQL, most of the time, they don't care about the data, but we, as MySQL, we care about the data. So this solution is completely ACID compliant, right? So we are using InnoDB in the background even to store your documents. So meaning that by default, every transaction will be flushed to this. If there is an issue, we will do, if it's too complicated, because you are not familiar, but usually when there is a crash in the database, there are some redo logs that will be applied. If there is a bug or something like that, we will do that in MySQL. So we will use double write reference. So meaning when we write, we check that our writes are good or not. We're going to do simply log, meaning every transaction is also written on binary log to be replicated or to be used for all inline recovery because there is an issue. All that is available in MySQL. And we have all the transaction isolation levels that are supported in a relational database are also supported for your document. So because for us the durability is really important, like I said, because we in MySQL we care about the data. We don't want to lose your data, which could happen with MySQL, like Mongo. This is just an example of a transaction. You can, in your session, you can start a transaction, add something, then you can see that it has been added, right? And then you roll back, and you can see it's not there now because you can commit to transaction and you roll it back. So you can use transaction with the document store. So it's cool. We have doc store. I think it's cool. So do you think it's cool, the doc store right so far? So it's cool, the doc store, we have CRUD operation, we have ACID, but we want more. People always want more, right? So what makes the MySQL document store really unique? And this is what I want to challenge you right now. So if you want, and this is for the MongoDB users, so if you want to list the best restaurants, right, of each type of cuisine, and show the top 10 with the best one first, how do you do that on 25,000 documents in MongoDB? How easy it is? You don't know? The answer is impossible. So, but in MySQL it is possible because CRUD operation cannot allow you to do that. So what will MongoDB do? They will extract everything in your application, and then you will make all the what you need to get that in your application. Because these are only JSON documents, right? But so this is a JSON document. So here one document. This is what it has. So it has grades, and you check which are the best grades for each cuisine, and aggregate all that, make analytics out of it, right? And so this is what we do in MySQL. So in MySQL, because the data is JSON, but because we are in a relational database, we can use SQL if we want. So you are not, it's not mandatory for you to use SQL, but you can use it. So here we have a common table expression. Then we use a window function to get all the row number. And finally we use the JSON table, which is a SQL standard to work with the JSON documents. And we get which are the best restaurant for each type of cuisine. Right? And this 25,000 food documents in less than half a second. This is what makes MySQL Document Store unique compared to any other document store. So you have the possibility to write clean and neat code, right, with the CRUD operation. But when needed, you can write SQL, and in the same session, you don't need to change anything in your application. So your application, the CRUD operation, add, delete, update, whatever, and then you need some SQL for any other reason. You can do it in the same session. You just say, oh, now this is SQL. And then the result, you can do whatever you want with it. All in the same MySQL mix session. So you can go from SQL to CRUD operation very easily with the document store. Yeah, for example, we have also what you call it, the JSON table. This is more complicated to use, but with this function, you can give any JSON document as if it was a relational table. And this is what we do. So here, for example, we can use this location to go inside of arrays in JSON and use all the results out of it. This is an example. This is cool, but Fred, you are telling that we are using JSON all the time, that it's good, great, and now we are talking about SQL, and then you return me this reports row by row, right? And my application is not able to process that anymore because I forgot how to use that, right? So how can I would like to just get a JSON back. Can you do that? Of course you can do. You just return that as a JSON object, and we get a JSON object. Here we get 10 JSON objects, but we can also say, oh, I want everything in one JSON array. It's possible, right? So remember the challenge that we did earlier, and I say, oh, now I want to have all this output as a JSON. I need it to 3 instead of 10. This is all I get. So I can process BigQuery in SQL and return JSON and process it as a JSON in my application. Right? So this is the very good stuff. But like I said, and this is like always, people say, oh, we don't want schema, we don't want schema, we don't want schema. Oh, our JSON is completely a mess. We want to have a structure in our JSON documents. Can you help us with that? Yes, you can. We can provide validation of your schema. For example, here I will create a validation to say, oh, the max string for a cuisine should be 32. More than 32 characters for a cuisine won't be good. We won't accept it, right? So if we add one document with a very long cuisine, and then it will fail, right? Because we say, okay, this constraint is not valid. So you will be able to add constraint and validation in your document. And you can also, when you create a collection, you can create a full validation there. So at the creation, you can say, oh, this is the validation of my document. Here, I just exactly the same example as before. I take Z, right? But it can be much longer than that. You can make all your attributes there. That or the one that are mandatory or that are not mandatory, all that kind of stuff you can add it here. And depending on the level, strict or none, it will be applied to your documents. Right? So here again, as we say, this time I add the full reference. Oh, because it was being created, it's not okay. Because it is not validating. So it's not a constraint anymore, it's just at the creation of the document, of the collection, that I've added this constraint to validate the full JSON. And so it's not okay. So here, now, remember I said earlier, we have an ID, a dot, and here on the JSON schema, when we validate it, we have to take that here into validation. It's part of the framework. Right? And simple string. Another example, I said, okay, now I will create a document, a collection that I will call my demo, and I want that my number has to be a number, and not a string or not a date. Like earlier I told you, JSON, you don't care, but sometimes people care, so I said, okay, I want that my number is a number, and I want to be required. So if I don't put my number in my document that I want to add, it won't be validated. So this is what we do. So I try to add a document that I will call number 1. It's not okay. It's not okay. It's not my number, and it's not even a number. It's not okay. So then I add the twice the same. Then I put the number, and 1 this time it's a number. It's not a good number. The good action for today, I call it my number, and I put it to number, right? So it failed. The next one is, oh, this time I use the right name for the attribute, my number, but I have a string, so it's not okay. And only this one will be okay, because I use the right attribute, I noted that it's required, and then also the number. So you have the possibility to validate all your JSON documents like that also. Yeah, this is how see the number I just added, so it has an ID, it has a number, and if I check the table, the validation is the JSON schema, it's the virtual event that you can see. Now, I told you earlier that MySQL Gateway in OCI, we are also, it's in OCI, you can also in Amazon MySQL Gateway, and in Azure. When you use MySQL Gateway, you have the possibility to also have the Gateway cluster with acceleration of your query. Analytics, all the analytics. But it also supports JSON now, but the only thing is that if you have a correction and you want to accelerate, you need to change the ID. The ID is a var binary and it's not yet supported in Gateway. So what you can do is just modify as a chart template. If you do that for all your collection, then you will be able to use the acceleration in MySQL Gateway. And so here, you can see now I have a lot of documents, right? So we have more than 2 million and 800 documents here. And I want to load my document into Gateway. So this is how we load the data, table, whatever, in Gateway. We call this Gateway load. And I'm loading Lobster. So it says, okay, it's loaded. It took 11 seconds to load everything in the cluster. And now I have it. And so, for example, this 2 million documents, when I do the query I had before, it was taking 1 second. And with the acceleration, we go to 0.19 seconds. Because it's using the acceleration. This was to, the query was the query to find the 10 best cuisine with the 2 million documents. Also, something very interesting, it's that the document store is also compatible with this. And this is, you know, MySQL is very known and famous for replication. And you can have replicate and have HA and have retrace whatever you want in the document store in MySQL. So you can do that and use JSON document, store your JSON document in HA and on the disaster recovery side, all that you can do. So conclusion, what do you gain if you use MySQL Document Store? Data integrity, ASIC compliance, transaction, and SQL when needed. But also schemaless, or validating your schema if you really want. Flexible data structure, and very easy to start because you don't need to learn SQL to prototype whatever you want, or for your junior developer to create application without SQL. So NoSQL SQL equal MySQL, and share enough to MySQL on the social media. If you have questions on MySQL, there is a community Slack where a lot of the MySQL engineers are in the community team is engaged. So it's, you can find us here. So this is not an Oracle Slack, it's just a community Slack for MySQL. You can go there, and I think currently we are something like 15,000 people in it talking about anything MySQL, from replication to InnoDB and to document store. So, do you have any questions? No questions? Was it too hard?
I was going to ask one schema. JSON schema.
Then you can do it. Other question? Do you like it? You say, oh, this is cool, or somebody say, oh, this is bad. Not the session, but the product. Okay. Thank you very much.